All right, you all. We have our next speaker that is queued up and ready. We have Miss Jessica Randall. Jessica, I am going to bring you to the stage. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence on today and patiently waiting your turn as our time has shifted a little. But the stage is yours. Please introduce yourself and go right into what you've prepared for us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to try to talk a little fast because I do have a lot, so I'm going to try to get through it all. But to introduce myself, my name is Jessica, and I'm going to be discussing mind-muscle connection, recognition, and treating your temple. So like a lot of Americans, I wasn't dealt the best hand in my early years of life due to childhood trauma. I ended up developing anxiety and severe panic attacks to the point where I was hospitalized numerous times because of the adrenaline dumps that it causes, and it would send me into like convulsions. And eventually I started becoming agoraphobic, and by the age of 15, I was diagnosed with PTSD from everything that I had previously been through. So I went to the ER, right? And the first thing they do when you're admitted to the ER with a panic attack is try to give you some type of sedative or antidepressant like Valium to calm you down. Well, that triggered another panic attack for me because I had a fear of any and all drugs. So there I was, 15, all jacked up, not understanding what was going on with my own body, had no way of coping with it because I couldn't take what the doctors said were the only remedy for this type of situation. I felt helpless and lost with no sense of control. Thankfully, my doting grandmother investigated vitamins and naturopathic remedies that could help ease some of the symptoms. My mom, on the other hand, didn't understand what I was going through and thought I was pretending to avoid going to school. She finally took me seriously the day that I asked her if she could please take me to counseling because I needed help. I can't explain the void and devastation I experienced from feeling all my hope, dreams, and joy had been stripped away. I felt like I had lost my life while still having to be alive. Later, my counselor discovered that my symptoms were all a result of me suppressing those childhood traumas instead of processing them. So we processed. Meeting my counselor truly changed the trajectory of my life. I learned so much from her. She would break every aspect of the process down for me, and that was my first spark. When I say spark, I'm talking about the excitement and thrill I get from finding tools to look inside myself, health, the human psyche, and the mind in general. Then I became a teen mom. I had my daughter at 17, my son at 19. I wanted to be a perfect parent. So I took early childhood development classes, parenting classes through a Christian nonprofit. I read books on child psychology, and I learned a lot while taking some natural childbirthing classes. My innocent heart thought if only people knew everything that I had learned, the world would have better parents. But during that season, that gave me my second spark. The third spark was when Dr. Caroline Leaf came to my church's relationship conference back in 2013. I remembered her talking about the differences between the male and female brain, and I was hooked. I truly wanted to figure myself out, and that was when I took my deep dive into self-development and emotional intelligence. Backtrack to 2009, 2010, I found the gym. I started lifting weights, eating healthier. I began to see a vast shift in my mood and confidence, anxiety, and stress levels. A year later, I started working there. As part of my job, I had to cross-train with the fitness trainers, and it was also mandatory for me to train with every new trainer 3 times. So thanks to seasons of high turnover, I got a lot of free sessions. With that came a lot of free knowledge, and I continued to self-study ever since. Now, for mind-muscle connection in the fitness world, mind-muscle connection is a conscious or deliberate and emphasized muscle contraction that requires you to focus the tension you create during a movement pattern specifically on the muscle or muscle group that should be working. And it makes all the difference between passively or actively moving the weight. But for my purposes here today, I'm referring to how your brain and body communicate through mental and physical activity. In the past, extensive research on humans suggested that exercise could have benefits of overall health on cognitive function, particularly later in life. Now it's clear that voluntary exercise can increase levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factors and other growth factors, stimulate neurogenesis, increase resistance to brain insult, and improve learning and mental performance. Recently, high-density oligonucleotide microarray analysis, that's a tough one to say, has demonstrated that in addition to increasing levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factors, exercise mobilizes gene expression profiles that would be predicted to benefit brain plasticity processes. Thus, exercise could provide a simple means to maintain brain function and promote brain plasticity. The benefits of regular exercise activity on health are indisputable. And in the field of modern medicine, exercise is often the first step in lifestyle modification for the prevention and management of chronic diseases. These health benefits are seen consistently across all age groups and racial categories. So, when we mention mental health, one of our first steps really should be to look at our physical health. How well are we sleeping? How are we eating? How much are we intentionally getting up and being active? It is all connected, even your gut health. A study on exercise duration and mood state showed improvements in vigor, fatigue, and total mood occurred in only after 10 minutes of exercise, with progressive improvements in even confusion after 20. And to quote one of my favorite movies, exercise creates endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people don't kill their husbands. If you don't know what movie that's from, please message me because that's the first thing we need to talk about. But seriously, fitness is not about being a certain size. Health is not about just eating salads. Mental health is not just about finding the right medication. All of these categories entail so much more and are all encompassing in what makes you you. If you don't know where to start, you can start by simply taking a 10 to 20 minute walk every day. I'd also encourage you to try different vitamins and supplements, especially before taking heavy prescription drugs, which could cause potential harm to your mind and body. Sometimes prescription drugs are necessary, but a lot of times with the right supplements and proper nutrition, a lot of them can be avoided. Now, for recognition. It sounds simple enough, right? But when we're talking about ourselves, the hardest thing to do can be taking the log out of our own eye and getting caught up in looking at the twig in someone else's. How many of us can admit that it's so much easier to see someone else's shortcomings? I'll put it like this. We are all tainted by our life experiences because of our own personal perception of each of those experiences is what creates our unique tint on the goggles that we see the world through. But guess what? You're not right. But guess what? You're not wrong either. In all of our interactions, there's usually perception and intent because our different formulated reactions to our life experiences, my intent could be helpful, but your perception could be that I was being degrading. Neither of us were wrong. We just misinterpreted each other. I said all that to say we must recognize that we can all use some editing in our own internal narratives. You don't have to be suffering with a mental issue per se. However, you are responsible for how you receive things and for your internal narrative that you might be creating and never even say out loud for fear of judgment, or maybe you just think you're always correct. I hate to burst your bubble. You lie to yourself every day. So, when I started learning about epigenetics, I found out that even the recognition of a trauma, like you just realizing it, that particular thing was a trauma, can ignite a level of healing for you. Your mind, your body, you are subconsciously telling your body how well to function. You can lead yourself to health, or you can lead yourself to destruction. You just have to recognize what the destruction is. We all have a tendency toward destruction and have normalized it because of our environments. If you're unsure whether something is a reasonable or healthy thought, try asking yourself, if I said this out loud to my best friend, what would my best friend say back to me? And then answer yourself. Say what you think your best friend would say. Also, I can recommend 3 of my favorite books, which is It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin, The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, and Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Dr. Caroline Leaf. And of course, if you need more help, feel free to reach out. You don't have to do anything alone. So now on treating your temple. The thing I learned most while trying to dissect myself over the last decade or so was I'm in control of me, and so are you. I had my most significant breakthroughs mentally when I was able to push myself to achieve something physically. I had my most significant breakthrough with anxiety when my counselor told me, the next time you feel an attack coming on, let it happen. Don't fight it, embrace it, because you'll see that it's not going to kill you and you will survive. You can do this. The next was a physical abilities test I went through when I thought I was super fit. This test was designed for men and consisted of running a 475-yard obstacle course while wearing a 3-pound vest, involved dodging low-hanging objects, climbing ladders, as well as 3 flights of stairs with your feet touching every step on the way up and down, running through a series of pylons, jumping, stepping, or climbing over a 3-foot, 4-foot, and 6-foot wall, partially lifting and dragging a 150-pound dummy backwards through a 6-foot long sandbox, ending with a final sprint to the end, all by the 3-minute and 15-second mark. Needless to say, my frustration when I failed, not once, but twice, was real. At the time, I was so full of myself and I could not understand. Me, failed. When I was at my peak in fitness, then I decided to humble myself. I decided I needed help. So personally, with this, I asked God to get me through the test. I wasn't going to give up. I went back a 3rd time. I said a prayer in the bathroom right before my name was called. I ran the course. I jumped every wall. I did all the things. Something felt different. I thought I was failing. I thought I had to push even harder because I felt like I had already run out of time. I decided I don't care if my legs fall off, if I trip and fall and smash all my teeth out or break something, all of which I had seen other people do on this test. I was going to push my little rubber legs harder and faster than they had ever gone before. And guess what, y'all? I passed in 2 minutes and 54 seconds. One of the moderators of the test told me that most women don't pass in under 3 minutes. I said, look at God. My encouragement to you, don't be afraid to humble yourself and ask for help in getting to a new level, because we don't know what we don't know. Also, nutrition is a key component, and that's a whole nother conversation that I don't have time for in my talk here today, but this one's free. Up to 60% of the human body is water. The brain and heart are composed of 73% water. The lungs are 83% water. And studies show 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. All of our bodies require hydration to function properly, so start by drinking water. There was a quote I found when I was younger that said, mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. When I got older, I discovered that self-control is a fruit of the spirit and part of God's very nature. I learned that my body is literally the temple where my mind, soul, and God resides. And the Greek definition of temple is divine dwelling place, sacred abode, the place of divine manifestation. That means you are a divine dwelling place. You are a sacred abode. You are the place of divine manifestation. So you have control over your mind, over your body, over your health. Being balanced and healthy can look like the ability to learn, the ability to feel and express and manage a range of positive and negative emotions, the ability to form and maintain good relationships with others, the ability to cope with and manage change and uncertainty, gaining control after failure, finding meaning in loss and trauma, disrupting the urge to brood or ruminate, nurture your own self-esteem, revive your self-worth after rejection, combat loneliness by identifying self-defeating behaviors, shed excessive guilt by repairing damaged relationships, physical activity including strength, flexibility, and endurance, nutrition and diet including nutritional intake, fluid intake, and healthy digestion, alcohol and drugs, including the abstinence from or reduction in these consumptions, medical self-care, including addressing minor ailments or injuries and seeking emergency care if necessary. And lastly, rest and sleep, including periodic rest and relaxation, along with high quality sleep. Now, currently, I'm a paralegal. My job is essentially to take in large amounts of information and research, pull out what's pertinent, and formulate a plan of action based on those findings. Having information is knowledge. Knowing what to do with that information is wisdom. I want to help you turn all of this amazing knowledge that you're receiving from all of these incredibly intelligent and gifted people into wisdom. Health, is so individual and every process is different. So there is no one right way to do it. And that's the beauty in life, right? What might be healthy to one person could seem toxic to another. Just remember, what's normal for the spider is chaos to the fly. So I'm here to help you if you need a customized plan of action. You can reach me by email at ok.lady.j@gmail.com, or the same Instagram handle, ok_lady_j.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica,
You're
for
welcome. My
coming
time.
today. Yes, this is your time. You're right on time. Thank
Perfect.
you. We appreciate what you have brought to the stage on today. And your looks like you had some friends in the comments. They were just starting cheering you on. So yes, all valuable information. We appreciate you.
Of course.
All righty. Take care.